What is up, you guys? Welcome to the Plant-Based Pisces channel. Today I have a tasty vegan cottage pie recipe for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy. To get started with this recipe, we're going to be using any type of plant-based ground beef. We're going to be using about 9 potatoes, box of tomato sauce, 3 sticks of celery, vegan butter, minced garlic, mushrooms, unsweetened almond milk, some Daya cheese shreds, and a baggie of mixed vegetables. Step number 1, into some boiling water, we're going to add our diced potatoes. We're going to dice them about 1/4 inch thick. We're going to slightly salt them. We're going to move our potatoes off to the side and let them boil. Into a hot pan, we're going to add our plant-based ground beef, and we are going to be browning it. So after our plant-based ground beef is nice and cooked, we are going to put it onto a plate and we're going to set it off to the side for later. Now in that same hot pan, we're going to be adding some of our vegan butter. We're going to go ahead and melt it down. And next we are going to add our diced mushrooms. We're going to stir those in with our butter. Make sure we get all the flavors in. After about 3 to 4 minutes of our mushrooms cooking, we're going to add our celery and our diced onion. Go ahead and stir all those ingredients in as well. And we're going to add about 1.5 cups of our mixed vegetables. After stirring all our ingredients in, we can't forget our minced garlic. Go ahead and add about 1.5 tablespoons. And we're going to mix all our vegetables in to get all those flavors going. Now we're going to focus back on our potatoes. After they're boiling, we're going to strain the water and we're going to mash them. Like, we're going to take all our frustration out and our anger out on these potatoes. We want them really mashed. After you mash your potatoes for a bit, you're going to add about 1.25 cups of our plant-based milk, and we're going to add the rest of our stick of butter. And we are going to mash some more and make sure that we get them nice and softened. We're going to add a little handful of our shredded Daya cheese. After we mash our potatoes, we are going to set them off to the side because we're done with them, and we're going to season our veggies. We're going to start with a sprinkle of Italian seasoning, a sprinkle of onion powder, a light sprinkle of oregano, and lastly a light sprinkle of thyme. I don't have exact measurements, but you can adjust according to your taste. Next, we're going to add 1/8 cup of vegan Worcestershire sauce. And we are going to add one of these little boxes of tomato sauce, or if you have it in can form, you can add the whole can as well. Next, we're going to add about 1/2 cup of red wine. Any red wine will do. If you don't want to use alcohol, you can use extra vegetable broth. Just add a little splash of white vinegar. And lastly, we're going to add about 1/4 cup of vegetable broth. Next, we are going to mix all the ingredients in. We're going to let it simmer, and we are going to let it reduce. And lastly, we're going to add our meat onto our veggies. And we're going to give that a nice stir. Make sure we get all our veggies and our meat mixed in with our sauce. And that's basically it. The ingredients for our cottage pie are ready to go. On a baking dish, after we coated it with some non-stick cooking spray, we're going to add our meat with veggies. And we're going to pack it nice and tight on the bottom layer. Next, we're going to add our layer of mashed potatoes on top. Make sure we get a nice top coat of mashed potatoes. We're going to spread that nice and evenly. Now for this one, it doesn't have to be perfect, but make sure you spread it out nice and smooth. Lastly, we're going to top this with our vegan cheese. Make sure you do not go light with this. You want a nice thick layer of our cheese. Now with our oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, we are going to set it in our oven and let it bake for about 20 minutes. Now after baking for 20 minutes, we're going to place it on our counter for another 20 minutes to cool down a little bit, and so that it's not as runny when you go to place it on your dish. And that is basically it, you guys. This is our vegan cottage pie. Now I do want to mention I was hanging out with a non-vegan friend and I let her have some of this dish, and she said it was amazing. She said if all vegan food tasted like this, she would consider going vegan. But hey, those are just some of the perks of hanging out with the plant-based Pisces. You get to sample some tasty vegan food. And that's it, you guys, for our tasty, super simple, delicious cottage pie. Cruelty-free like always. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Plant-Based Pisces. Go ahead and leave me some comments, some tips, suggestions, anything you want to throw in those comments. Go ahead, let me know. Also, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I was having a lazy Sunday. I was in my PJs all day, and I do want to apologize because they do come out in the video. But hey, you know what? It was one of those days. Sometimes you gotta recharge your batteries before getting back onto your week. I hope you guys have a good one. Thank you. This is the Plant-Based Pisces signing out.